Well, I've never seen anything like that in a debate. Chris Wallace can only be called a disgrace. Completely, totally disgraceful. That's the only way to describe Wallace. So if you tune in to my earlier Periscope, I gave the devil his due. I gave all credit to Biden, who I thought was doing well. That was about 40 minutes in. And then Chris Wallace just did something that I've never seen before in a debate. Trump wasn't prepared. Trump didn't bring up fracking, which, as Jack Posobiec mentions, huge issue in Pennsylvania. Biden said he wanted a fracking ban, but then he flip-flopped on that. And then the media let him get away with that. So Trump didn't bring up fracking. Arthur Schwartz tweeted out that Kamala Harris signed on to the Green New Deal, but Trump didn't bring that up. So Biden said the Green New Deal is not my plan, but Joe Biden signed, or Kamala Harris signed on the Green New Deal. Trump didn't do that. So Trump got steamrolled. He got worked over. Pretty good tonight. Towards the end of the night, you could hear Chris Wallace quivering because he had so much adrenaline. Because tonight was Chris Wallace's night. Tonight was Chris Wallace's night to pull a Megyn Kelly and try to destroy Trump. So Chris Wallace spread the Fine People hoax. Let's just fact check Chris Wallace. Chris Wallace spread the Fine People hoax in a loaded question. He said, Joe Biden, you ran for president because Donald Trump said there are very fine people on both sides, and referring to the white supremacists. So what a just nasty, loaded debate. Biden's son was discharged from the military for drug use. Now, whether that was dishonorable or less than honorable is up for a discussion, but Wallace goes, let's talk about issues that matter, right? So anytime Trump brought up something like Biden being a proxy for influence peddling, hey, sorry, we got to put on a shirt on, okay? You go put a shirt on, then come talk, okay?
I just want to hug. You know why I came today? Just wanted to hug you.
Oh, give me a big hug. I love you, okay? But you got to have a shirt on if you're gonna talk, okay? So they're so Biden though, just disgrace. That was just the only way. Here, come here. They're just yes, babe. Yes.
I looked it I looked on the side of the button.
Okay, go ask mom to find your laptop, please. Okay. Yeah. So Chris Wallace, we.
Dad, Sean doesn't know about this.
Okay, well I'll go find the laptop for you. Okay, give me 5 minutes and then I'll go. Okay.
Daddy?
Yeah. So Chris Wallace, I've never seen anything like. Yes, ma'am.
Can I set the timer for 5?
Yeah, go set the timer for 5 minutes, and then once that's up, I'll go get it. Yeah. So Chris Wallace worked him over. But the flip side is one thing to complain about the bias and being rigged. It's another thing to just not being prepared and just getting worked over, right? So Biden, people, where's Syra's mom, Shauna? We were all hanging out listening to the debate on Bluetooth. So I didn't watch it. I listened to it because I wanted to feel the energy. And Shauna, by the way, is not like Trump, MAGA. Even Shauna was like, shut up, Chris. Let him talk. So I thought that was revealing because Shauna's my bellwether for what I would call like people who aren't political but kind of like tune in. And even Shauna was like, what is this Chris Wallace guy doing? Who is he working for? That's for sure. So Chris Wallace, like I said, he spread hoaxes, he perpetuated hoaxes, but you have to realize that when you're going into these things, you don't like complaining about the ref, you still lose, right? It's kind of like you learn this in sports. Your high school football, you go to the other team's town, they're going to have their refs, and you know that going into Trump didn't bring up fracking, huge mistake. He didn't bring up Kamala Harris co-signing the Green New Deal, huge mistake. He didn't bring up maybe nuclear poll's bad, so I don't know if I want to call that a mistake or not. But he wasn't prepared for that. And then Trump was doing what I would call forgetting the audience. It was, if you're a Twitter person, you love tonight. Tonight was a fight. Tonight, better than anything that Mark Cuban and the NBA can put on, that's for sure. But you're in a debate like that, your audience isn't Twitter people. Your audience are the old people, the people afraid of coronavirus, the people who are sick, the people who are jobless. Number one rule of persuasion, who's your audience? You have to cater your message to the audience. So initially I thought Biden was really doing damage to Trump, first part. But then Wallace, I think, it was so rigged that every American with a sense of fairness kind of turned. So even Shauna goes, "Shut up, Chris," and Shauna doesn't yell at the TV or anything like that, right? She only cares about this stuff because we're married and we hang out and everything. But she's not like that political. So I think that the American people, I think Trump maybe ended up winning the debate only because Americans hate a rigged event. Americans hate a rigged debate. Americans have a very strong fundamental sense of fairness. And everybody who watched that, I think you hate Chris Wallace. I never liked Chris Wallace, by the way. I've never thought he was a man of integrity. I never thought he was a man of decency. I always thought he was a liar and a fraud. But then Trump goes and does interviews with Chris Wallace and gives Chris Wallace all these ratings, which is to Trump's discredit. So the way I look at it is that Biden was winning at first. And then with Chris Wallace rigging the debate like that, every American with a sense of fairness was just disgusted. It was a disgrace. And by the way, I know a lot of people are like, oh, but you're just a Trump fan or whatever. Go read some of my tweets early on. I was being put on blast by the Trump people. The Trump people were fucking not happy. But I don't care. I call like I see it. What did I say earlier today, people? I said, unless Biden has a sundown moment, which he didn't, Biden brought his game, man. Biden, what's up, Kathy? Biden brought his game. Came strong, didn't have a sundown moment, pushed it hard, had the edge. But Wallace was so bad that I think Chris Wallace lost the debate, by the way. I think that most people who are the mythical undecided voter are going to watch that, and you're really going to think this whole thing is rigged. Wallace is a rigged debate. Hashtag rigged debate. RIGGED DEB, rigged debate. RIGGED DEBATE. Never seen anything like this rigged debate tonight. So Biden early on had the edge, spoke to his audience. His audience was people out of work. His audience was the elderly vote, because elderly people vote. The woke people don't vote. But then Wallace, by being so rigged in the debate and by being such a blind partisan, the nastiest far left-wing advocate you could ever especially see, he maybe gave the edge to Trump or turned it around for Trump, assuming people tuned in. Now, I would like to see, like, for example, Chris Wallace called critical race theory sensitivity training. Did all y'all catch that? What was the most rigged debate question Chris Wallace asked? That's a good tweet. Maybe Ali or Jack or Pasovic or somebody, maybe could answer better than me. Is what was the most hashtag rigged debate question Wallace asked? I'm torn between the Fine People hoax and the whole idea of calling critical race theory racial sensitivity training, right? Because Mike Cernovich, I believe in racial sensitivity. I believe in treating people with decency and respect. I believe in empathy. I believe in not dismissing Black conservative voices who talk about their experiences as Blacks. I believe in all that. I believe in listening to people. But that's not critical race theory. Critical race theory stands for the proposition that Americans are a white supremacist nation. Okay, Shauna, would you get her my laptop, please? I did make a deal with her. I said she could watch a little bit of show because she's been really good today and hung out and helped Rumi swim and everything.
I don't care.
I know, but I had to deal with her. I had to deal with her. Just give her a few minutes, okay?
Let's go.
Siren and I had a deal. Just let her have it for a few minutes. Hey, Rooms. Here's Rumi. Oh, hold on, peeps. Oh, you want to come say hi too? Yeah, so this is the little roomster. Hey, Rumi. Who's that? Where's Dad? Where's Dad? Oh, where's Rumi? You're Rumi? Oh, okay. Yeah, so we had a full night. We listened into the debate, hung out, did some survival practice, swim practices and everything. And like I said, so I would say the most rigged debate question would be either the Fine People hoax or calling critical. You want to stay with me? You want to hang out with me? You want to climb up here? All right. Come on up here. Oh, no. Do you want to be with Mom or me? She wants to be with me. But yeah, I got to read some stories to Rumi here in a minute, so I'm going to have to cut this stuff out. You want to read a book? Okay, go get me a book. We'll read a book, okay?
I can read too. Come with me.
With Gerard the Giraffe. You want to read Gerard Giraffe? Go get Gerard the Giraffe book, okay? We'll turn the lights on. So, My question is to you: what was the most rigged debate question? Was it the Fine People hoax? Was it calling critical race theory sensitivity training? Which no one supports racial sensitivity more than Trump. Trump, you have to remember, and Trump just again wasn't prepared for this. Trump made a club accept Jewish members. Do we want to, he's got a history of this. Trump was awarded like the Rosa Parks Award with, remember that? You can see the pictures of all this. So no one's more sensitive to these issues than Trump. Yes, ma'am.
Google is.
Okay, I'll go find it. So we have a little family. So I said Cyber can have the TV for a couple, or my laptop for a couple minutes, and then Shauna, who's a little stricter than me, said no to that. So Shauna's putting Rumi to bed. So I'm gonna for Cyber, because she had a good deal. You make deals with them. We want to limit the screen time with them. So Cyber, a little Abby Hatcher, maybe a little Abby Hatcher, a little Paw Patrol. One of these two. Hold on, Cyber, step back a little bit so I can get it on, okay? And you're not going to touch what?
No buttons.
No buttons on the computer, right? No buttons at all, okay? All right. You want to watch Abby Hatcher or Paw Patrol?
Paw Patrol with Abby Hatcher.
Okay.
Paw Patrol.
All right. Show me which one. Point to it. I'm still here, people. This one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, do you want to take a shower? Get you down.
All right. And we're back. Cyrus got a little Paw Patrol, yeah. So I don't know. I just Trump wasn't prepared for that kind of matchup. He lost sight of who his audience was, which is the elderly voters, not the Twitter crowd, not the Chris Wallace. I don't know. I guess my question is, if you're Biden, do you even do another debate? If I were, I think Biden's performance was so strong that I think he could just say, look, Trump just filibustered me. I won the debate. I'm going home a champ. So should Biden even debate again after this? And I don't mean do you want to see a debate. If you were Biden's advisors, would you even have him debate again after tonight? If I were Biden's advisor, no. Biden shut down any kind of senile thing. He can just call a lid every day, lay low, get a pass. There's only downside here for Trump. So should Wallace moderate again? The real question is, should Trump ever do an interview with Wallace again? Because Trump does that. Trump has this thing, and we all have our flaws. We all have our weaknesses. Trump's flaws, he wants to win over people who hate him too much, which is not a winning political strategy, right? These people don't like you. They hate you. Do you gain new territory trying to win them over? You know what I'm saying? But that's Trump's way. I'm gonna win these people over. I'm gonna get these people to like me. But that's not how politics works. They hate you. You only gain real estate. That's your only move is real estate. Am I moving the needle in my way? That would be my question. So I don't know. What do you think, Ali? What do you think, Jack? What do you think, Kevin? I think it's a bad night for Trump. I think that Wallace is rigging it. So if I were saying who won the debate, I would say the country lost the debate. The edge maybe went to Trump at the end because Wallace was such a disgusting, rigged debate moderator that anybody with a sense of fairness would be not cool with that, right? So I think that Biden won early, had command and control, dictated the issue, and then Trump maybe pulled it around just because Wallace was such a rigged debate moderator that people are going to say this is a joke. What was tonight even all about? I don't even know. But Biden shut down any kind of senile thing. You know what I'm saying? It was Trump didn't have his talking points dialed in. Oh, did you catch that Chris Wray locked and loaded a talking point for Biden? Biden said Antifa's an idea. So Biden said Antifa is an idea. Who gave him that talking point? Chris Wray. So Trump's FBI director locked and loaded. He gave Joe Biden a locked and loaded round to shoot at Trump for the debate about Antifa. So this is where we are, man. It's 2020. This is all Trump's fault too, by the way. Never should have fired Flynn. Never should have hired these knuckleheads. Never should have let Johnny DeStefano run personnel. All the shit that we talked about in 2017. The roosters are coming home to roost. So if Trump loses, no. And by the way, oh, Biden did drugs. Doesn't matter, right? That's like you're in a fight. Oh, the other guy did steroids. Okay, so, and that shit doesn't move people. That doesn't move people. Oh, what drugs? Yeah, Biden was probably on some nootropics, man. I take nootropics. So I can't even hate the player. I can't hate the game. I'm pro nootropic anyway. So I would be on modafinil and Correctum and everything else. Shit, if you go into debate and you didn't shoot up a little bit of test and you didn't take some nootropics, are you even trying to win? That's why, to me, the drug thing is like, I'm not the audience for that. If you were like, hey, Cernovich, you're going to have a debate with, I don't know, who could beat me in a debate from the left? Probably no one. But let's just say I was going to go against someone really good. You think I'm not going to shoot some tests? You think I'm not going to have some nootropics going on? You think I'm not going to have a whole nootropic cocktail leading into that? Of course I am. Are you kidding me? How are you going to go into a competition not at peak performance? I'd be doing Wim Hof. What do you think I did before 60 Minutes? Wim Hof breathing, cold showers, deep meditation, nootropic cocktail, peak performance. Why can't you see my face? Because I've merged with the infinite. Because I'm one with infinity now. I'm one with the fractals and the sacred geometry. Yeah, rough night though, and I can always tell who the real people are on nights like tonight. Tonight is how you separate the grifters from the people who actually have something to say. Because when I tweeted out, yeah, I mean, early on, Biden was doing well. People are like, what debate are you watching? Oh, okay. So you're one of those people who you're not allowed to have your own opinions. You just have to grift with the lowest level, lowest common denominator talking point. You're one of those people, huh? Right. You're one of those people. Can't have your own opinions. Wild night though. So what do you guys think? Final thoughts, closing thoughts. What should we look? Will there be another debate? I guess. So a couple questions before we get going here. Will there be another debate? I don't know. If I'm Biden's people, I say nobody. Who do you think won, Trump or Biden? Who won, Trump or Biden? What should we look for in the next debate? So I would say, all these things. You want to call in, Ali, or somebody? Can you call in? Ask to join. You want to call in, Ali? Can you call in? Maybe we'll chat with some folks. Who else is here? Anybody want to call in? I don't know. Can you call in on this? Can periscopes? Maybe Periscope doesn't have that option anymore. Maybe I disabled it because I had too many. Okay, let's see. Can Ali call in? He called but canceled. I don't know. I'd like to talk to Ali. I'd talk to like Jack Posobiec. I'd like to talk to some people. Hear us on your minds, what you're thinking overall. Points that I missed, points that I overemphasized. What do you think that I'm getting right? What do you think that I'm, getting wrong? We'll talk to Kathy. We'll talk to Kathy. Here we go. Kathy's a good friend. Hey, Kathy, how you doing, friend?
Hey, Mike, I'm good. How are you?
Good. So what do you think? What's on your mind?
I'm shook.
Yeah? Go on, elaborate.
I feel like Trump was debating Chris Wallace and Biden.
Yeah.
And, we all saw that.
Yeah.
And I hear the captain Scott Adams is calling this a tie. I don't really think anybody, changed their mind after tonight's debate. Everybody already knew who they were going to vote for. So all it did was shake us up. It was like watching Mike Tyson bite somebody's ear off. That's how it felt for me.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. So a tie is, I think though, if people are calling it a tie, that's Biden. I think Biden wins the tie though. That's
you
how
do?
I feel. Yeah. I feel like Biden didn't have a sundown. Like what I tweeted earlier, and I stand by this, is it was kind of Biden's night to lose, and he had to lose. Trump had to make him lose. And because it's usually the opposite, right? Usually a title fight, you have to unseat the champ. But in presidential debates, it's a little different. So I think Trump had to beat Biden, and I don't think he did. So I think the tie goes to the challenger, but who knows?
Right. I was pretty surprised at Biden's performance. I wish he would have taken the drug test, but we knew that wasn't going to happen. And I'm with you about the nootropics. If he was doing something, or my friend suggested he was on Adderall with the pupils thing, but
I'm pro-drug.
at least he stood up for the whole thing, and I don't think Trump was prepared for Chris Wallace badgering him, and he was really attacking him.
You turn the light on in the back. We turn the light on in the back. Yeah. Okay. Thanks. It's good to hear from you as always, my friend.
Thanks.
Be well.
Love you, fam. Thanks.
Bye.
Night, guys.
All right. Who else wants to call in? Okay. I've never done call-ins before. Who else wants to call in? Share your point of view. No anonymous profiles, though. I don't want people trolling. I don't want people getting me flagged for hate speech. We'll welcome calls. I think you just asked to join.
Hey, why don't you just sit out over there?
That light there is good. Yeah. Just wow, it's looking kind of hot. You want to come out so I can show people how hot you are? All right. So I think you just click ask to join, and then you can join if you want to. Yeah, I mean, I'm pro nootropics. I'm pro TRT. I'm pro. You got one life, man. And I'm not pro drug. I'm pro PED. I'm pro performance enhancing drugs, performance enhancing medications, so to speak. Weird shadow thing. Who wants to call in? Nobody? You guys are being awfully shy tonight. I know I'm hot. Thank you. I'm definitely above average attractive wise. Definitely above average. All right, we got somebody calling in. We'll take some calls. We'll try it out. The troll comes. We'll see. How you doing? What do you think?
It was a crap show, man.
Yeah.
And you're right about Wallace. He rigged everything. I think you're dead on your analysis. I think at best it was a tie, and it goes to Biden.
All right, brother. Thanks for the call.
Okay. Bye.
All right, we'll just take calls. We'll just take some calls, see how it goes till some troll ruins it. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Cernovich. How are you myself?
Doing well.
So I think I'm probably with everybody else. It was a not so good a performance, but it's because of Wallace. I mean, I've been doing this for years. These moderators are taking too much of the show. I wish they would have just yelled at each other more often instead of dealing with the third wheel.
Yeah, so just open forum, open debate.
Absolutely, 100% open forum, and then allow them to speak their truth and let the chips fall wherever they do.
Yeah, I feel it too, man. It was rigged though. This was a setup, that's for sure.
But I think a lot of times, but I think what's going to happen is that I think a lot of people have already chosen their sides, and these kind of performances are only going to make less people even show up. The more people I think are going to say, you know what, forget it. I'm over this whole entire circus. I'm just going to do whatever I want to do that day.
I feel you, bro. Thanks for the call.
Thank you.
How you doing, Erica? All right. She was in, now she's out, I think. Appleseed. We're loading in 3, 2. I kind of like this, the suspense. Will we get a troll or will we get all good calls? How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good, man.
I think Biden just regurgitated a bunch of word salad. Trump had some very specific claims, like about prescription drugs. Trump made a lot of specific claims. I think Biden just regurgitated a bunch of word salad. Not very specific. I think the only specific thing I recall was something about the rainforest and how we got to pay countries to keep their rainforests from, not tearing down their rainforests. And I really feel like the moderator, Wallace, should have stepped in to kind of say, well, can you be a little bit more specific?
Right.
Instead of doing the fact-checking BS, because nobody can fact-check in real time,
Right.
but people can call people out on word salad BS.
Yeah.
And that was a big failure of Wallace.
Well, I think that was his role, though. I think he wanted to rig it. But yeah, Wallace, I think, is either the big loser or the winner, depending on how you see it. Thanks for the call.
You bet.
Savannah, 3. Hey, how are you? Good.
I was just thinking about this. I was wondering about how you guys feel about how you feel rather about the vaccine situation.
Yeah, I don't know that Trump's doing himself. The vaccine thing was weird because Democrats went from, calling everyone anti-vaxxer to now saying they don't trust the vaccine. But then Trump talks about using the military to vaccinate people. And I don't think that's a good point for Trump. I don't want I don't want troops in the street. Are they going to?
Yeah, no, that
It's like
sounds
martial
actually,
law.
it makes it sound scary.
Yeah.
And I agree with that. But like, I think that largely it's nice that to know that, I guess, that we have a plan or something, to get it out there. But like, I was just wondering what you thought about that. And also I was wondering what you thought about the oh my god, what else was it?
We got
Okay.
Brother Ali's on too. How you doing, Brother Ali?
I'm shook. I'm very shook.
Tell me what that means.
I thought the debate was horrible. I thought that, I think what you said was right, is that Donald Trump had all these retorts, but it was like, if you read Twitter, you knew what he was talking about.
Mhm.
But to the casual voter, they had no idea these stories that he was talking about. He's like, go look at Manhattan, all these terms that people can Google, but they don't know the actual terms. It was actually insane.
Yeah.
It was just so stupid. It was insane. And then, the most brilliant thing he did was he tied Biden to Hillary Clinton's super predator comments. I mean, that was brilliant, but he didn't really hit it home. But man, Chris Wallace, he better get a position with the New York Times editorial board, because he really, really gave Joe Biden that rim job tonight.
It was a job. It was a job interview for Chris Wallace. That's for sure. Chris is looking at his next job.
I couldn't believe that. Like,
Yeah.
how could you say, oh, this happens to be a breaking news story, the Trump
Right.
taxes, and Chris Wallace totally leaves out the stupid bastards comment that Joe Biden released? I mean, all the breaking news that's anti-Biden was not brought up by Wallace. When Trump brought it up, and then Wallace said, answer the question, Biden said, well, what was the question?
Yeah.
And Wallace rephrased it to leave out the stupid bastards part and have him address the economy. I mean, it was so ridiculously rigged. I've never seen anything like it. I've just never seen a debate that horrible. And Trump fed into it. Trump. I think he fell down the rabbit hole. I think he looked stupid.
I also, and we got Brother Waleed here too. We're gonna hear from him in a moment. And yeah, I feel like that's exactly right. Tonight was a Twitter debate, and he didn't reach the kind of people who watched. He was reaching high information voters rather than the people who watched the debate, which are low information voters. Brother Waleed, what do you feel?
Hey there, yeah. So my question really was, he clearly got some loaded questions coming his way. My question is,
I don't know if he showed up on the screen.
Why didn't he just fire back at Wallace and just debate him on those specific points? Why not correct him? Is that a good point from a persuasion standpoint or not?
Yeah, you're exactly right. I don't think Trump was ready for this kind of steamroll job, and it showed. He didn't have his talking points loaded. He wasn't prepared for Wallace going this way. And then it was very much like he was arguing with Wallace rather than. So when you're giving a speech, rule number one is who you're talking to. You're talking to the audience. The moderator is just a way for you to facilitate your talking point. Rule number one, right? Who's your audience? Rule number two is you're going to talk about what you want to talk about. But the flip side of that is the other person wants to throw you off your game, and that's what Wallace kept doing. Trump, will you condemn white supremacists? You mean for the 100th time, right? And then Wallace brings up the Proud Boys, and you're just like, wasn't a Proud Boy or somebody killed by Antifa in Portland 2 weeks ago? And that was completely unreported, like literally hunted down. The video showed people hiding in a garage. Trump didn't know any of that stuff. So he wasn't prepared to push back and just say, Chris Wallace, why don't you talk about violence against Trump supporters? Why do you cover that up? So yeah, completely steamrolled. So that's why I think Trump got steamrolled. What do you think, Ali?
Yeah, it was just, I mean, I agree. And I think that Trump walked into this debate thinking, I need to get the suburban women before they early vote. So let me get after them. So he went a little leftward. And I think that's what we saw at the beginning. And then I just think he lost himself. And I think that Biden obviously was doing the same thing. He was making a play for the right. He was distancing himself from the rioters, BLM. He didn't mention the Green New Deal. But Joe Biden didn't get lost because he was protected. But it's uncanny that Chris Wallace left out every bad headline affecting Biden, but Trump wasn't prepared to challenge the authority and the reputation of the moderator to discredit him early, rhetorically. That was insane. He let Chris Wallace steamroll him.
I feel like Mr. Wally, what do you think, brother?
Yeah, that's the part that's really insane to me is that Trump really felt like he could interrupt Joe Biden, but it didn't feel like he wanted to fire back at Wallace at all. I was really hoping that he would, say, hey, excuse me, look, actually, this was a hoax, right? And, read the full context. Here's find people, yada, yada, yada. But he kind of just let it, fall off the chin there. I wasn't quite sure what he's trying to do with that.
What you said there, by the way, is a great point. And I think that because Trump watches so much TV that he's starstruck by celebrities, and he feels like Chris Wallace is a celebrity. And because of that, he deferred to him. So, for example, Chris Wallace said, well, if you want to be the debate moderator, come in the chair. Well, the Donald Trump of 2016 would have said, hey, Chris, I'm debating you. Why don't you just go switch places with Joe Biden and you and I could debate, right? That was just right there. There's all this low-hanging fruit where, because I've been in debates, you get the heat of the moment. You can't say, well, why didn't you make every great point that me, some guy drinking a cup of coffee and smoking a cigar came up with, right? You don't want to be unfair like that. But yeah, the flip side is that we know what Trump's capable of. And that's what Trump should have said was, hey, Chris, why don't you just get up here and debate with Joe Biden and we can just do a tag team like you guys are doing. And nope, he didn't, he didn't do that. He didn't hit a lot of those points. I think because he's a little starstruck by Chris Wallace and the celebrity game got to him and got into his head. Mr. Ali, what do you think, brother?
Yeah, I mean, maybe right. He's, let's not forget that Chris Wallace is royalty. He's media royalty. His dad is a famous, his late father is a very, very famous reporter. So maybe he just felt like the prestige. But, this was Chris Wallace trying out for his next job because Fox News is not going to be in business in 2 or 3 OANN, Sinclair Broadcasting, Trump TV. If he loses, they're all gonna take off. So Fox News is on the way out. Chris Wallace knows it, and he was auditioning for the Murdoch boys' wives and the New York Times. But, you're right. I mean, that would have been a brilliant line. Like, why don't you trade Joe Biden's place? You've got a better working brain. You're challenging me more than he is. It just, come on, dude. It was just lazy on Trump's end. I was frankly shocked, and I don't think that Rudy Giuliani or Chris Christie should be allowed to do debate prep with him.
Right. Yeah, it was not a good debate. We're trying to get Carpe on here, so Carpe tried to join. We had a little error, so we'll get him on here and see what he has to say. I know he's a very diehard Trump supporter, so I always like to hear from the diehard. But thanks, Brother Wally. Good conversation, good call. You're welcome to join a little bit later. I was just trying to get Carpe on here. There's like a limit. I think you can add 4 people, but it's only letting me add a couple of times. Here we go. I think we'll try one more time. All right. So we got so something with Carpe can't join. All right. Somebody else want to join? Let's try it out. See if it's site wide. You're right. The debate prep was bad. They weren't ready for a debate moderator to steamroll Trump. So that's what they need to do for the next prep. Is the debate moderator has to steamroll Trump. That's got to be it. All right. Back iron 11 in 3, 2, 1. What's up?
I love this thing, I think you're spot on. I'm a disabled OIF, OEF vet. You've mentioned me before. I don't want to get off track here, though. I've talked to you about the DMT stuff, but yeah, I think you're spot on with everything. And something about the debate, watching you do this in live time, this is fire, man. This is how Generation X and younger, the media is so corrupt. This is how people are going to start getting their news. I love you doing this with Ali. And I don't know if you noticed. I mean, both of them had gaffes. I only watched the last 30 minutes of it, but I thought it was funny as a veteran when I got a BSM with a V device, but I thought it was funny. Biden was talking about Hunter's BSM, and he called it the conspicuous service medal.
Yep.
No, but I think I agree with you and Ali both. I think Trump wasn't prepared. I think with doing all the rallies and traveling back and forth, and with the stuff with the SCOTUS nominee, I just think he thought he could kind of go in off the cuff, and he definitely wasn't 2016 Trump. You're spot on with that, brother.
Yeah. Well, thank you, brother, and thanks for the call. And we can talk. We'll do a podcast on a DMT or ayahuasca.
Love it.
You can join that. Thanks, brother. Thanks for the
Thank
call.
you, sir.
All right, we got a political brain here about to join here. I think we'll see. 4, 3, 2, 1. What's up, political brain?
I've been going through my Twitter feed and I haven't really seen a lot of information about the last question that Chris Wallace asked about asking Trump and Biden both to agree to have their supporters be patient if election results weren't coming in or if there was confusion. I was wondering what your opinion was on that.
Yeah, they both dodged it. Trump didn't, because it was a rigged question for Trump, because we all know that Antifa is going to riot and loot and attack if Trump wins. And we all know that. And then Trump didn't want to give an inch on that, didn't want to concede. Where, again, the 2016, this is where you can see Trump has lost a step. And we all do. Battle fatigue. And the 2016 Trump would have said, are my supporters rioting? All the rioting is far left-wing extremists, Antifa, supported by the media. The media covers up for Antifa. That's where all the violence is. Simple, right?
Yeah.
So there was a lot of that, what I would just call, again, like low-hanging fruit, where all you have to do is swing and you're going to smash it. No, but he wasn't prepared. Maybe he's lost a step. I mean, I know that, 4 years, this is a long 4 years. Brad Parscale, of course, losing his mind. There's a lot of spiritual warfare happening, a lot of demonic things happening. So we just got to look at it. He didn't really bring it. All right, we got Carpe about to join us, and one. Mr. Carpe, how are you, sir?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
We hear you.
Sweet. So, my general take on it was Trump had some really good moments, and he wasted a bunch of opportunities. Like the Fine People hoax was the biggest one. I was screaming at the TV, like, just knock that out of the park.
Right.
And I mean, I think he really wanted to, but he got caught up in the minutia of all of the other things that Biden lied about in that same statement, and he forgot about it. Which that was the one thing he needed to do really well tonight, was when Biden brought that up, just slam it home and be like, you've been lying since the day you started your campaign about this, and it's dividing the country.
Right.
And he didn't do that. So, I mean, there was other things too. I was not a big fan of him bringing up Hunter Biden after he talked about Bo.
Mm-hmm.
That was not a good timing for that.
Right.
Right.
But trying to get in, yeah. So overall, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate Big T?
I'll be generous and say like a 7, because Biden was bad too.
All right, Brother Ali, on a scale of 1 to 10, and everybody commenting too, on a scale of 1 to 10, how'd Big T perform tonight? 1 being the worst, 10 being the best.
I'm never going to live this down. This will be the lowest ranking I've ever gave Trump. I think it was a 5. I'm so disappointed. I'm not personally disappointed. I'm professionally disgusted, and I'm personally in shock.
Yeah, I would go 6.5. I think 6.5. would be about right. He rated the way Trump was in 2016, it would be like a 3.
Yeah.
Right? If you were just like
Yeah.
a general scale 1 to 10, 6.5, Trump compared to 2016, it's like a 3. Not even the same guy.
Here,
Well,
you know,
he had
here's
Biden
another.
on the ropes for a while too. Like sort of in the beginning,
Yeah.
Biden was on the ropes, and Biden was like sort of sputtering, and he was saying things like, "I'm not going to answer that question."
Right.
You know, like he flat out refused to answer the question about. God, I don't even remember what it was. So much happened, but you know, he refused to answer a question and said flat out, "I'm not going to answer it." About packing the court.
Yep.
Like that was a big question.
And he talked about because of the political fallout that would follow. And Chris Wallace should have been the follow-up there. But look, here's what President Trump should have done. If you're running for re-election, you use information that only you have access to. So when Joe Biden mentioned something about Antifa, all President Trump had to do was say, well, wait until the announcement next week. And then you go to the White House and you tell your senior advisors, find me a fucking announcement next week. And President Trump did not use the bully pulpit. It's like he didn't know he was president. And then he's like, well, you treated my family badly, so I'm going to talk about Hunter Biden. Instead of saying, you know, I'm the president of the United States, and I'm concerned that your family has sold us out. And my family's not selling us out. My family is sacrificing for this country. It just, oh my God, I'm so disgusted. I'm so angry.
He hit some really good points there too. Like when he went into about
Name 3.
what Obama did to him in 2016, and he really could have segued
No one cares,
that.
Carpe.
No, but he could have segued that into what Hunter Biden did.
Yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, and that's a way to frame up Spygate. But here's the thing, you know, if you watch Epic Times or you watch this movie that's coming out, The Plot Against the President, well, then maybe you know what Spygate is. But no one else in the country knows what Spygate is. It just sounds like Donald Trump is complaining. He's using key words, right? So sometimes the three of us, when we're mimetically making something, we'll talk about something where we want the viewer or the reader to educate themselves. So we drop unique SEO terms where they can find it. Trump is talking about Manhattan, and he's talking about Philadelphia. You know Philadelphia is bad. That sounds like he was talking about black people, not elections. You know, it's insane. I'm so angry right now. I'm just going to shut up for a second.
All right, everyone. By the way, if you're not already, my phone might die. So if I drop this communication, phone battery. Is everybody following Ali on Twitter at ALI at Twitter? If you're not, follow Ali at ALI at Twitter. Carpe, he's got some litigation, you know, so maybe you'll be able to follow him. He has some malicious things done to him, and he's trying to vindicate those rights, and we'll talk about that. We've linked to his crowdfund for his legal things, so we'll do a segment on that specifically soon. If someone wants to call in, try to join in. I'll try to get you joined in, and we will, we'll see if we can add you. We're having a little tricky, difficult.
Here's a question I have. What does Trump, let's assume it's as bad as we're all saying, what does Trump do tomorrow to reset it? Because he's the king of the resets, right?
Good point. We'll ask Brother Kevin. Kevin, what can Trump do tomorrow to try to push through what he just went through?
Ooh, that's a tough question. I feel like he got crushed tonight. He was so unprofessional. It was the worst performance I've ever seen from him. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how you reset this. That was a loaded question, Mike.
That's why we're here to ask the tough questions. There's a lot of MAGA grifters that'll, just say, "Woo, tonight, MAGA."
He got crushed.
He
got crushed.
Yeah.
I don't know that he can reset it tomorrow. I think he has to reset it the next debate. Because nobody that is voting for Joe Biden is reading Trump's Twitter.
No, so, that's again. Trump debated with Twitter tonight, not the low information voters. So the next debate, if I were saying how do you reset it, I would say that Trump has to understand that you're not debating Twitter. You're debating low information voters who've been gaslit by the media into thinking the Proud Boys are like a 100,000 member group when it's like 14 guys who go to Portland and stand around, and then Antifa tries to hunt them down and kill them. You know what I mean?
And that they're white supremacists. That was the other thing that he said, was that they were white supremacists.
So what frustrates me about all this is that why are we talking about the Proud Boys in a debate? You know what I'm saying? No offense to people who are friends with them or whatever. It's 15 guys that go out in Portland and Antifa and them get into it. Okay, that's America. There's always been things like this in America. We don't talk about the Bloods and the Crips. You know what I mean? How many people die who are gangster disciples in Chicago? Nobody's like, what are you going to do, Joe Biden, about the gangster disciple? There's actually people dying every weekend in gang wars. So, like, why are we talking about this? Like,
well, it was Chris Wallace's opening to talk about right-wing violence. That's what it was.
Yeah, but why? But I get that. But I'm just saying that platonically, like in terms of in a just world, in a society that is serious and deserves better than what we're getting, we shouldn't be talking about such nonsense. But so my answer, Ali, and then I'll let you answer. Obviously, you posed the question, is he's got to go on a media tour and speak directly to the American people, not just Hannity. He needs to go on Tucker. He needs to go on Tucker in person and get a little smoke from the right, because I bet you right now the Trump campaign people are watching this, but they're not going to. Trump's not watching this. He needs to go to Tucker and get a little bit of smoke and say, look, bro, there's Angelo Dundee line. You're blowing it, kid. Sugar Ray Leonard, iconic sports moment. He needs a little bit of smoke from Tucker and say, you're blowing it, kid. You're blowing it.
That's a good idea. You know, trying to take the vaccine approach, right? Put a little bit of poison in the stream to build up your strength. I'm so emotionally shook right now. I don't have a solution for him, but I mean, that sounds like a good start. I think, God bless Rudy Giuliani and Chris Christie, but they're both gluttons. They're lazy. They're slothful. And I just got to blame them on what happened tonight because.
Well, but I'll apply the Ali principles, though, to your own, because you're shook. The Ali principle is nobody dies in politics.
Right. Sure.
You're not dead. Trump's not dead. Trump's going to wake up. There's an election November 3rd. He's got to do something. So we never, applying the principles of Ali Alexander, we never think fatalistically. We think, are you dead? Nope. Okay. You're going to wake up tomorrow and you're going to fucking have to do something, bro. You're going to have to do something.
He let himself get back on his heels for some reason. Right. I don't know why he let himself get back on his heels and he was in defense mode for the second half, because he was attacking at the beginning. And then he let Biden just like throw a bunch of lies out there. And then I think Biden sort of threw out so many lies that Trump lost track of how many he had to talk about. Yeah. And he was swarmed by the lies, and then he forgot half of the important things he needed to say, like, your supporters are out there burning cities and you're talking about the Proud Boys.
Right.
I mean, that's what he needed to talk about. And so little of the debate. The other thing was this, is that there's enough, there's a sweet spot of how much you interrupt the moderator and then just talking over him. And he blew past the line. He was in a drag car, just blasting past that line.
That's okay. Let me interrupt you. That is actually what I think bothered me the most. So a lot of people don't even know this, but like Kanye West is what you call HSP, highly sensitive person. And there's a lot of people in our movement who are very talented that are HSP. I'm not. But the texture of the audio I'm frazzled right now. Like I feel like I'm a burnt antenna in the Arizona sun right now, 1995, just bad car parts or something like that. Like I am frazzled because Trump blew past the interrupting of Chris Wallace. Like, if you're not going to do it effectively,
come back over here.
And you're just going to do it ineffectively,
and
then you're going to do it 10 times more the limit, then you're a part of the problem. And Trump became a part of static and noise, and there was no signal, there was no president, it was two candidates fighting on stage. It was
over by the bush.
It was insane, So
well, he let himself get to a point where he was admonished, rightfully by the moderator. You never want to be in a situation where the audience says, that
and Chris Wallace wanted
correct.
That so bad.
Yeah.
Chris Wallace wanted that. It's going to be in the museum. They're going to play it on a video loop in the museum called The Museum in D.C. And it's going to be Mr. President, please stop. It's you. And then Trump goes, well, he's doing it too. And then Wallace says, no, it's just you. And I'm like, and the audience is like, yeah, it was just you.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I saw that was so interesting is Trump came out so and so on the defensive and kind of bringing up a lot of things that weren't even having to do with the conversation. The one thing I'll say in my parting shot is that this was probably the first debate in 20 years where they didn't bring up Middle Eastern terror and Middle Eastern, geopolitics to just
Because
show
Trump won. But that's a great
that
point.
they've been tamed on that.
Yeah, that's a
Really
great point.
interesting.
There's no Islamic terrorism to talk about because Trump has ended it. A great point. So that's a great dog that didn't bark, which is we're not talking about endless wars in the Middle East anymore. Why? Because Trump ended those. We're not talking about jihadi Islamic terrorism anymore. Why? Because Trump is ending it. He's destroying it. So we have it so good now that what are we fighting over? Well, whatever nonsense that the Democrats can cook up. So you're right. It's a great point. That should be. And I didn't even think of this until you just brought that up, Kevin. So for the next debate, what Trump could say is, you know what we haven't talked about? We haven't talked about radical Islamic terrorism because I've ended it, because I've destroyed it. We've destroyed the caliphates. We destroyed ISIS. We took out Soleimani, etc., etc.
Or peace deals in the Middle East.
Peace, exactly. And Chris Wallace like, we're not talking about that today.
Yeah.
Even though,
that's
so
when
what?
you interrupt the moderator and you say, we are talking about it because that's an important thing.
Yeah, we're the candidates for the high office. Let us answer. You can ask your question, Mr. Moderator, but let us answer how we want to.
Exactly.
Yeah, first debate since 2000 where that hasn't been brought up.
Well, I mean, this is obvious, but Chris brought up Trump's taxes, but you knew there was no way in hell he was bringing up Hunter Biden.
Exactly. And we shut down Hunter Biden.
Yeah,
that's Chris goes, we have other things to talk. Well, let's talk about Trump's taxes for the 100th time.
That was question 2. It was question 2.
Yeah. Just added recently, but that's, again, you have to know the ref is going to be right. All right, we'll take a couple more calls. If we have people, just click the invite to join button, and my phone could die any moment. I think I'm at 3%. Even though I'm plugging in, we're draining the battery quicker than we're recharging it. So if we drop off, such as live, you can follow Ali Alexander at ALI on Twitter. So Twitter, his handle is ALI, Ali. Carpe Donktum, you can find his Legal Defense Fund on my timeline. I'll retweet that at the top so you can find it. And you should watch The Plot Against the President. Is my pinned tweet. I did not make the movie. A very talented filmmaker, Amanda Milius, who left a lucrative film career to serve in the Trump administration, the State Department, directed it. So I'm flattered that people thought that I made it. I didn't. I'm just in it. It was kind of nice to just be in a film and not have to worry about it. Oh, I just show up and talk and then go leave. Wonderful. I don't have to stress out about everything for 18 months and have people yell at me. Your film's not ready. When's your next film? Nice change of pace. So go watch the Plot Against the President trailer. And my pinned tweet, follow Ali at ALI and then Carpe Donktum, Legal Defense Fund. Google that. Maybe it'll show up. And if you want to join, click the invite to join. We'll take 1 or 2 more calls. And then we're going to call it a night.
Another thing, Mike, that I think he should have is, and Kevin brought this up, so kudos to him, is like, if this was a referendum on Trump's behavior, because we're experiencing such peace and such prosperity, even in the middle of a pandemic, then Trump should have remembered, hey, I beat the Obama-Biden administration. I won in Michigan and Pennsylvania and Wisconsin because they didn't want TPP. And I couldn't believe that Joe Biden brought up the Paris Accord 3 times and Trump didn't say, the unions voted against you and your policies. They voted for me.
Right.
Why not run against the Obama-Biden administration that he beat?
All right, we got another guest, D. Noor. Feel free to say hi. What are you thinking? What's on your mind?
Just curious. What do y'all think about him saying that he wasn't going to do the Green Deal, the new Green Deal, the big green plan? Do you think it alienated some far left?
I don't know about that because, he's just repackaging it in a more swallowable pill. I mean, it's the same. It's basically the same thing, and I thought the worst part of all of that was when Chris was talking to him about the Green Deal and saying, well, like, how is it different? And he just says, well, it's the Biden plan. Like, he has no idea what's in his own plan. Like, you can just see it in his face. Just this blank expression of, like, well, it's different because it's got Biden on the top of it.
Right. Well, what about, like, Trump not even pointing out all the flip-flops that Biden has made. The flip flops,
Yep.
Yes, I'm for Medicaid. I raised my hand. Yes, I'm Medicare for all or whatever. I mean, why didn't he bring any of that up? He just didn't seem to engage it right.
The topics and the questions, I think, really severely limited what Trump was able to do, especially like the 2-minute time limit. Like there's so much that you have to go after Biden about because he's just a mess that you can't address it all.
We're not hitting him with any bombshells. We're not hitting him. We're not touching him. They've got him insulated. The press has insulated him.
What do you think, Brother Ali? And then Carpe, I'm going to pick up another caller, and then we'll talk to you a little bit, okay?
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, I agree. I think that I actually disagree a little bit with Carpe and agree with the caller that Trump should try isolating the far AOC progressive wing from the Biden ticket. If you paint Kamala and Biden as anti-black authoritarians sold out to Wall Street, then maybe you reduce the turnout on the left. So I was really happy when Trump said this meta story when he said, "You just lost the left. You just lost the left." But then that was a tactic. It didn't become a strategy because he never laid any more traps like that. So, but I don't know. If you follow through, it can turn into some numbers. If not, then I don't know what the hell that was.
All right, Brother Eric, what's on your mind?
Hey, so half my family is Biden supporters and half of us are Trump supporters. So I really felt like Biden killed it tonight. Trump, for whatever reason, the 2016 eye rolly Trump, where he's just kind of always making faces and looking over at him, and I just loved it in 2016. This time it just didn't quite sit with me as well. And my wife, she's a Biden supporter, she was thinking that she felt like the people who trained Biden watched a lot of The Office. I don't know if you remember, but if you watch The Office, Jim, he always makes these kind of blank faces when Michael's going crazy.
Yep.
And Biden just killed with that face. He would just like look at the camera with that kind of blank face when Trump was going off, and it just kind of worked. And I could see my family was just going for that. And yeah, I guess that's most of it.
All right, thanks, Eric. Great to hear from you. And yeah, I felt the same way early on. It was Biden just looked like a come on, man. Get real, dude. Bring it. How you doing? How you doing, Colonel Joe?
Hey, thanks, Mike. I agree with what you guys are saying here. I wanted to highlight what I thought was one of Trump's stronger points he brought up tonight, which was attacking Biden by asking him a question, which was, name one police organization that supports you, Joe. And Trump didn't let it go. He forced Joe, and he showed Joe he had no answer to that. And so when Trump has those questions and forces Joe to answer, that's one of the best ways to expose how weak Biden really is and how little support he's got in these important organizations.
Yeah. No, I feel you. We got Evan. We got you on call. We're adding you, Evan. By the way, people, tap that screen. If you're not already, tap that screen. Get them likes. Follow Ali at ALI on Twitter. And we have a new caller. How you doing, brother or sister, whoever it may be?
Hey, this is Evan. I'm doing good. How are you guys this evening?
We're doing well. Thanks. What's on your mind?
So I was interested to hear that last caller before's comment about Biden's face as the Jim face. I always thought of it as cognitive dissonance, where you sort of look like you're not tracking. I think I wanted to hear Ali's opinion specifically about Trump and where were all of the pros? We talked about unemployment rate for African Americans in the country. There was no talk about taxes. There was no talk about 3 Nobel Prizes. There was no talk about energy independence. But specifically, how did the lack of pros from Trump and more focused on the defensiveness and getting into the defending of the cons, how did that impact specifically the black vote that was watching today? Because I felt like he missed a lot of opportunities to talk about some of his big wins for African American voters. And in fact, I think he kind of struck out there, especially with the fumbling of words around the white supremacy, denunciation trap question.
I think, look, it's a tough conversation to talk about, especially in this little microwave, but since my face isn't on screen, maybe I can get away with it. Look, what you want to do when you're talking to broadcast television, you're talking to blacks that are never going to vote for you, is inform them that they have other choices than Joe Biden. So the Libertarian Party, the Green Party, or, it's if you don't want to vote, you don't have to vote. So I actually don't think that he lost anything with the black vote. But on the pros of everything else that he was going for, the suburban woman vote, yeah. I mean, think about this. There wasn't one time in the entire debate where Trump framed up him or what his administration had done. Not one. There was not a theme. There wasn't any framing. And, I mean, he was just on defense the entire time. So I think, I don't know, something, you know, sometimes you walk out on stage and you got a stomach ache or you got a bad phone call or, you know, there's some national security thing going on that's in his head. I have to assume something's in his head because the man, this was not the RNC speech Trump. And the RNC speech Trump was Trumpian. He changed the entire Republican Party. He told the far right to go take a hike, and he told the left, hey, you can come in here, but you need to be more conservative. And this is not that Trump. I don't know who we saw tonight, but this guy was on defense against a punching bag.
And I think that's part of the challenge with him it being the way he is, you know, it looks overbearing, but overbearing is received differently depending on the context. So in 2016, he was overbearing, but he was clever and creative, and he was a little bit different.
And the candidate, not the incumbent.
Yeah, and the candidate. And then now he was overbearing like he normally is, but the context was more reactive and defensive, and that made him look bad. The moderator certainly didn't help with that, but that made his overbearing nature seem a little bit petty and a little bit like a loss. I thought Biden, his only goal for today was to avoid total ruin, you know, and I think that's the goal for the 70 plus age category, you know, that he's in. But I thought he did that, and so for that, I think his rating is a binary 0 or 1. I think he got a 1, and I'd give Trump about a 3 just based on, his context was all wrong.
Yeah.
Great caller, brother. Thanks for calling in.
You bet.
Other talking point Trump needs to hit on the second debate is the Second Amendment. Trump is killing it. Look at all these new gun buyers.
Yeah.
The African Americans that I talk to, and it's few and shallow compared to Ali, but the point that resonates with them is the Second Amendment. They both, you know, they look at both candidates and go, Biden isn't going to do shit for me. I hate Kamala, but Trump, you know, the talking point about what Trump has done for the African American community isn't resonating with them. But when I say, okay, well, let's look at a Second Amendment, and that one resonates, they're like, okay, you're right. That point wins in terms of Biden wants to be a gun grabber, and Trump's going to protect that. And if, you know, that one alone is winning voters over.
Thanks, Brother Joe. Always great to hear from you. How can people follow you on Twitter? At GK Joe at Twitter, right?
GK Joe. Thanks, Mike. We'll talk to you.
Thank you. So that's our brother, Colonel Joe, at GK JOE. So if you're on Twitter, follow ALI and then follow GK JOE. If you want to join the convo, you know, we'll take some more calls. No trolls yet, you know, so.
Bless.
And we might drop off any minute, so we'll see how the battery goes. By the way, tap that screen for them likes. How you doing, the Royal something?
How you doing, gentlemen?
We're doing well, sir.
2 things. Why won't Trump